So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the team Smart Study, I welcome you all to today's webinar. This is Muhammad Hamza Suhail from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I'm a certified management accountant and I am also the CMA program manager and faculty member at Smart Study. And today we are hosting this webinar as an introductory session and for introducing our distinguished guest, Mr. Brian Hawk and Mr. Rishi Malhotra. Special thanks to them that they have joined us today in our today's webinar. And indeed, this would be a very informative session and a very beneficial session. And without any further delays, let me ask my colleague and the principal of Smart Study, Mr. Naveedur Rahman, if he could please turn on his mic and start with his introduction and let the program begin.
Thank you, Sir Hamza. I hope you're doing good. I welcome all of you to Smart Study, and I welcome Mr. Brian Hawk and Mr. Rishi Malhotra, also Miss Maliha. Thank you very much for coming. Now, you can see me on the video and you can see me on the screen also. I hope that my screen is visible. So first of all, I would like to introduce, I'm Principal Smart Study, and I'm a lecturer as well. I'm teaching from the last 10 years, and I'm basically teaching the management subject like performance management and financial management and advanced performance management currently for ACCA. And now we have CMA as well. So I won't be teaching CMA, of course. Sir Hamza will be there, and there will be some other lecturers also. So Sir Hamza, he has introduced himself. So I would like you guys to see Sir Hamza also here. He's currently teaching for ACCA also. And he will be basically our program manager for CMA. And we have some other lecturers also. I know that most of the students here, they are interested in CMA, but I would quickly like to introduce my other lecturers who are currently teaching for us. So Mr. Azizur Rahman, who is basically a tax specialist. He is teaching reporting as well, financial reporting. And then we have Mr. Asif Ashraf, who is teaching from the last 15 years. He is also a reporting expert and teaching advanced financial management. And Mr. Bilal Qureshi, who is a gold medalist, and he is basically an audit specialist. Mr. Yusuf, who is the law specialist, is currently teaching corporate law for us, right? So these are our lecturers. Miss Maliha is also here, and she will be also assisting us with the CMA program. And now about Smart Study. Now, if you can see that Smart Study, the concept of Smart Study, right? Now, you know that accountants, if you want to be an accountant, so of course you have to work hard. Now, a lot of the students who have actually asked me like a few hours ago also and a few days ago that should I do CMA? Can I do it? Will it be very difficult or can I do it? Am I eligible for that, right? So you're going to get all the information about the CMA today. Mr. Rishi Malhotra is also here. He's going to give you a lot of information about CMA. But about Smart Study, if you study in a smart way rather than in the hard way, so of course you can be successful, right? Now, what does that mean? It basically means that you should have everything available for your studies. You should be focusing on exam particular areas rather than studying something which is not relevant to your examination, right? Now, I was in a discussion with Sir Hamza, and he told me that the best study material available for CMA is basically from the Hawk International, right? So I'm glad that Mr. Brian Hawk will be also helping us with this program, and our students will be part of his students as well. So basically, if you are our students, you'll be part of the Hawk International student also, right? Now, the slide that you can see in front of you right now on the screen, these are basically our results. The most recent results that we had, and the most recent exam was the September exam, and you can see the red lines and the blue lines. And you can clearly see that all the blue lines, which basically are the smart study pass rates, they are much better than the global pass rates, which are the red ones, right? It's only possible if you get the best faculty member and if you get to study with smart study in a smart way, right? Now, why CMA? Again, we have got more specialist people sitting in this particular webinar who can actually tell you that why CMA, right? But I have a few points that I just want to add them. So first of all, CMA is a specialized qualification, right? You might have seen other qualifications also, like for example, right? I don't want to name anyone, but let's say, for example, if you're studying a particular qualification and let's say you're studying auditing also, taxation also, financial management also, or the management accounting also. So you may not use all of them in your practical life, right? So what's the point of studying everything if you have to work in a particular area? Now, CM is a very specialized qualification, which is basically focusing on a particular area. So it's definitely going to increase your worth in the market once you're qualified CMA. Now, the second point that I would like to discuss with you, you see, you might not agree with this, but this is true. You see, professional accountant in 8 hours. Now, how is it possible? Of course, it's going to take much more than that. But you see, you have only 2 examinations. And the duration of both examinations in total will be 8 hours. So it means that if you basically study, of course, for like 2 examinations, but it's going to just take 8 hours for you to become a professional accountant. Now, the third point good about the CMA program is the market focused, right? It's very much focused on the market and the change in the technology and the changing environment, the business environment. It's very much focused. It's definitely going to help the students who qualify to get the job. It has global recognition. Once you become a CMA qualified, so definitely you can work anywhere in the world, right? So you are not basically just limited to a particular country, right? You can work anywhere in the world, right? And then the last thing that, well, you are studying CMA. If you are here, so of course you want to study CMA, but why with us, right? Why with Smart Study? Well, the first point that I just mentioned you that you see our pass rates, number one. The second thing is like a very common problem with a lot of institutions that when they are actually teaching a particular qualification, they are, or their lecturers are not themselves qualified in that particular qualification, right? So our preference will be to give you the CMA qualified lecturers, right? So who actually knows what will be tested in your examination, right? The next thing about the CMA program is that with us, that it will be, is my voice low? Can you please let me know if my voice is it audible to everyone?
It's audible. It's audible.
Sorry.
So you can,
Okay.
you can carry on.
We are trying to keep your cost very, very low. So I have this number. You guys can note down this number also, right, on the screen over here. You might have already, you might have it. We are going to share it in the group also, right? But you are going to get some information about your fee structure. The other thing, why with Smart Study, the flexibility that we are offering, right? The problem is that a lot of students who will be studying with us, they may not be, they may not be taking classes as a full-time students. I mean, some of you will be working somewhere, right? Some of you will be only free on the weekend. So basically what we do, we try to keep it as flexible as possible. So how can we give you the flexibility? Just in case if you miss a class, you will have the recordings available, right? You will have the live classes available. We'll try to keep it on the weekend, right? So when you have a day off, right? If you still miss the class, you can still ask the question from on the WhatsApp group, right? So for each class, we are going to make a WhatsApp group where you can ask questions. So it's very flexible and very casual where you can easily ask questions from your teacher directly, right? Um, Along with that, uh, the professional study resources. So of course, you will be given the professional study resources from Hawk International, right? So if you are actually taking classes with us, so the study resources from Hawk International will be available to you. And Mr. Hawk will be, as I told you before, that Mr. Hawk will be also uh, dealing with you guys or helping you guys like his own students, right? So this partnership with Smart City and Hawk International is going to be very useful for the students, right? That's all from my end, Sir Hamza. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sanavid. It was really a very pleasure to hear you describe what Smart City is. And really, guys, let me tell you that Smart City has its own success story. It started about a decade ago, and now after 10 years, we have seen a pinnacle of success. So this is not basically the time to discuss that, but definitely studying with Smart Study is something you can say like joining the winning team. Okay, so Mr. Naveed himself is a very smart teacher, and this is basically the crux of Smart Study, that we enable the skills in a student that help you study smart. So now, without wasting any further time, let me invite my friend Mr. Rishi Malhotra from IMA Dubai office, and he's basically the community relations manager for education, and he's a very close friend of mine, and he is really a good speaker. So I would request him to please go on with his slides. Mr. Rishi.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Mr. Naveed, as well, and thank you, Brian, for being here. I'm just going to share my slides. I hope I hope you can see the first slide.
Yes, it's visible. You can see it.
Okay, so thank you for the warm welcome. I've been with the association for coming up to 6 years. I'm very, very passionate about education and about certification. You know, one of the things that I've learned through my career is whenever you're investing in education, you're investing in your future. You're investing in a journey that takes many, many years. The great thing about this journey is this journey will always kind of be with you through your life. And the best thing about your education, this is not a depreciating asset. You will never lose on education. It will always go up in value. So when you're looking at the CMA certification, you have to take this into consideration as well, that you have to have the correct motivation, you have to have the correct dedication, and you have to work with it. No education is magic. However, constant commitment, effort, motivation, speaking to senior people, going with your own feelings in life and really going for it when it comes to the certification, you will be successful. So I would just like to talk for a few minutes regarding the association, what is in there for you as the CMA, why you're going to take the CMA. One of the things that you have to take in consideration, you will be joining a global network. And these global network are exactly as I mentioned, the word global. These are members, these are CMAs from all continents around the world. And this is really, really key, because when you start growing in your career, for me, and it's my own personal choice, you may disagree with me, you may agree with me, that your network will become one of your most powerful resources that you can leverage. So if you can network, if you can communicate with different people around the world, that is amazing. The great thing about joining the association, it's not like LinkedIn, where you're going to reach out to somebody and they're going to accept you. It's not like that. You are part of the community. As soon as you join with IMA, you've got access to 140,000 plus members. We are very, very grateful that we have over 300 chapters globally as well. And these are our volunteers that are connecting the community locally. Unfortunately, we cannot be everywhere and we cannot travel everywhere. So we rely heavily on our chapters around the world. We are celebrating 50 years of excellence. 1972, the CMA started, and we started with around 40, I think 40 or 50 people that took the exam then. And now we've got thousands taking the exam throughout the year on the 3 different occasions. So we want you to be part of this journey. But again, I take you back, you need to have the right motivation, dedication. You have these 2 and your own kind of other skills within you, you will be exceptional. So one of the things that we also get asked is, what is the best certification for me? Now, unfortunately, I cannot tell you the best certification for you. The one thing that I have to share with you is the IMA values certifications. We will never say the CMA is the best choice, or the ACCA, or the CPA, or the CMA. What you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, every certification is a different body of knowledge. This is a body of knowledge that is different to other certifications. So if I said to you right now that you have to choose either a heart surgeon or an eye doctor, it's impossible, isn't it? Because again, they have a different body of knowledge. A heart surgeon cannot do what an eye doctor does. An eye doctor cannot do what a heart surgeon does. So these are the things that you need to take into consideration. And this is no different when you look at the CPA against the CMA. When you look at the CPA, and the rectangular on the left-hand side is the organization, and the accountant is employed on a daily basis. The management accountant has responsibilities for developing, implementing, managing processes within the company. They're heavily involved within the organization. When you look at the public accountant, again, it's a great certification, but they would provide more advice on the client details related to audit and tax. So their day-to-day involved operations or decisions that support the implementation of a company strategy. But their main focus, ladies and gentlemen, ensure that the organization is complying appropriately regarding regulations and requirements. So you have to obviously think about certifications for you. The great thing about the CMA, and that's what we're going to focus on now for the next few minutes, is why should you be looking at the CMA? Well, some of the things that you need to take into consideration is one of the major benefits is it's a 2-part paper. It's just 2 parts. However, within that 12 competencies between part 1 and part 2, you have 42 different topics, which I will obviously share with you. You'll be glad to know it's the same body of knowledge no matter where you take the exam from. It does not matter where you take the exam from, whether you're sat in Pakistan, whether you're sat in Dubai, whether you're sat in New York, you're going to go through the same exam. Your certification comes directly from the association. There is no mention on where you've taken the exam. CMAs explain the rationale and the why behind numbers. They can really get into the finer detail and really explain what these numbers are about. Being a CMA, you become a business partner for your organization. And this is as you climb the corporate ladder. Again, when you become a CMA, the hard work then begins, because then you have to kind of keep on improving yourself, focus on your interpersonal skills and your soft skills as well, because these are also something that you can leverage. You build your credibility amongst your staff and open doors for promotion. If you're a CMA holder and a non-CMA holder, your terminology, the way you come across, the way you look at things, and the way you kind of tackle different situations and solutions is far greater than a non-CMA holder. You also become, as a future industry leader, you're expected not only to know the trend, you're expected to know and follow the trends of all all the information and all the data throughout the world. And when you do become a CMA, this is something that stays with you for the rest of your life. However, you will still need to obviously go through at least 30 hours of professional training to keep your CMA. The CMA also is practical. The syllabus is practical. And then what you also need to understand is there are parts of the CMA that you're already covering. You already have knowledge about. It's not something that you're going to start new and you're going to start fresh. So you don't need to look at the CMA and think, wow, I don't think I can look at this. I don't know about this. I don't know about analytics. I don't know about cost accounting, cost management. It's something that you already have knowledge about. And the great beauty about the CMA, it's a great foundation for your career. And this is because it covers management accounting, financial accounting, internal controls, audit, decision-making, budgeting, and more. So this is something that you need to be mindful of. Two-part paper, and then this is the two-part paper. So as I mentioned, you're probably thinking, okay, it's a two-part paper. This looks quite straightforward. It's not impossible. We don't have an 80% pass rate globally. It's around, I think, about 54 to 58%. So it's not impossible. So when you look at part one, so let's look at technology. So within technology, you have information systems, data governance, and I think technology-enabled finance transformation, data analytics. Data analytics is something that all companies are using. It makes the company more efficient. When you look at internal controls in part one, you've got governance, you've got risk and compliance, you've got system controls, you've got security measures, and you've got planning and budgeting, which is one of the biggest topics throughout the both papers. And you have 6 in there. So strategic planning, budgeting concepts, annual profit, top level planning. And then when you go to part 2, you've got corporate finance, risk and return, long-term financial management, raising capital, decision analysis, cost, volume, profit analysis. So you can see, you might be thinking there's only 12 topics, but there's 42 different headings and different kind of education that you will be involved in the high level. Just to finish off, this is our competency framework. Our competency framework is what we have put forward and designed for our CMAs. These are the competencies that you should have. I'm not saying that this is the only competencies you should have. You might have more, but we have designed this as the association that this is the core of a CMA, where you have leadership in the middle, you have strategy, you have reporting, you have technology, you have business acumen, you have leadership. Leadership is a key component to becoming and to be thriving within the CMA. Why that is, you will be motivating your team to understand what they need to do. So you need to have the correct level of knowledge so you can drive your team forward. So when you look at the technology analytics, this is for you to manage the technology and analyze data to enhance organization success. So you always have to look at a CMA that really is the core of a business, and they become a business partner. Will you be the next CMA? We are very, very proud. We've gone over 100,000 and we would like to welcome you to come on this journey. Thank you so much. We will be around for questions and answers. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Rishi, for providing us this knowledge and for your time as well. And let me remind all the participants that we will be entertaining the question and answers in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm sure that you will be having a lot of questions for Mr. Rishi. So without any further delays, let me invite Mr. Brian Hawk, who is an excellent teacher He is basically the president of Hawk International, and really, when you will listen to him, you will come to know that he is such an excellent personality with such beautiful skills that God has granted him in terms of presentation and speaking and everything else. So, without any further delays, Mr. Hawk, please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for your kind introduction. You've now given me an expectation that I need to make certain that I achieve, and I will.
No, you deserve it, sir. You deserve it.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I know that this is, for most of you, probably the very beginning of your journey in terms of making a decision about what exam you want to study and how you want to prepare for it. I know that Rishi said that he did not want to say what certification was the best certification, and I can appreciate that. And I agree absolutely that there are a lot of certifications, and it's a matter of finding the certification that's going to help you achieve what it is that you want to do in your career. Just like there's different types of doctors, there's different types of certification. Having said all of that, I've been in certifications for more than 20 years. And if I had to choose one certification that I felt was in general the best all-encompassing certification, it would be CMA that I would choose. And yes, if you want to become an internal auditor, you need to become a certified internal auditor. If you want to go into investment banking, CFA is what it is that you're looking to do. If you want to work with taxes, CPA, or whatever local tax qualification is what you should be doing. If there's a very specific specialization that you want to go into, then you need that very specific specialized certification. However, if you are looking at your career and you go forward, looking forward into the next few years, and you say, I don't know what I want to be doing. Maybe you are just graduated from university and you're new to this, and you're just starting your career, and you don't know what direction your career is going to go. CMA is a very, very, very good, very, very, very strong business, accounting, and finance certification. One of the ways that I describe it is if I had to hire somebody to run a business for me, to be in charge of a department, to be in charge of organization, whatever the case may be, I would choose a CMA to be that person. I would choose a CMA before I would choose a CPA. And the reason for that is that CMA is very practical to what businesses do. When I teach CPA, and we're teaching auditing, well, if you're not an auditor, that whole part of the CPA exam is just really an academic exercise for you. When I teach tax and CPA, if you're not involved in US taxes, that whole part of the exam is just an academic exercise for you. But with CMA, every single topic on the exam is a topic that a business does. Planning, budgeting, costing, decision-making, internal controls, ethics for an individual, ethics within the organization as a whole. And so when you're looking at your role in a company, CMA is giving you the tools to lead that company, the tools to be promoted to management. I was speaking a while ago with an individual, and he was talking about what CMA did for him and how it is that CMA helped his career. And the story he told is one that I'm sure a lot of people have. He worked for a company and he was in credit collections. That's all he did, credit collections. And he did it very well. And so he got promoted to the head of credit collections, which meant that in that role, he was invited to attend other meetings with other people that were larger management type meetings and things like that. And so he said, I went to these meetings and I just didn't understand what they were talking about. All of those business decisions, how we're going to price our product, the production decisions, and just general management decisions. He said, I didn't know what they were talking about. So he studied CMA. And so he used his foundation in credit collections to build into CMA, which covers how a business operates. And now he's out of credit collections and he's into management in the company because CMA gives the tools that you need to make management decisions. I heard this a while ago, and I don't know how true it is, but I heard that at one point there was a consideration to change what CMA stood for. to change it from certified management accountant to certified management advisor. And I kept that in mind because I think it's very indicative of what's in CMA. It's not just accounting. It's not debits and credits. I mean, there's some amount of that and some amount of financial accounting, but it's so much more just in terms of how a business operates. So if you want to be in management, CMA is for you. If you want to start your own business, CMA is for you. Consultants, I think CMA is the ideal certification for consultants because it's consulting how a business should be operating, how they should be making the decisions that they're making. And so CMA is an absolutely wonderful certification. I like the fact that it's 2 exams. And the reason it's so nice that it's 2 exams is after you pass your first exam, you're halfway done. You're halfway done. ACCA, CMA, these other certifications, you pass your first exam, and you can't even calculate what percentage complete you are yet because it's so small. Now, there's a wonderful certification, ACCA and CMA. I was involved in both of those many years ago. But in terms of accomplishing it and completing the exams, CMA is going to help you do that because it's 2. They're not easy. They are not easy. And that's a good thing. We don't want the exams to be easy. If the exams were easy, they would have no value. Because if the exams are easy, anybody could pass the exam. What we need as a professional, any certification is, you need that the business community says, oh, hey, this person passed CMA. They are smart. They know what they're talking about. They've studied a rigorous syllabus. They've passed a difficult exam. Because if anybody could pass CMA, what that would mean is people that are CMAs don't have skills that other people don't. There's no difference between a CMA and a non-CMA, but because it's difficult, it's challenging, that's what gives it the value. So it is a difficult exam. It is a challenging exam, but the most important thing to remember is it is very possible. It is very possible to pass these exams. And it's very simple to determine if you will pass the exam or not. And I've written about this. You may have read this if you've seen any of my blogs. There's one question that I can ask you. And if you answer this one question correctly, you will pass your exam. If you don't answer this one question correctly, don't start studying because you're not going to pass your exam. Okay? One question. If you answer it correctly, you'll pass your exams. If you don't answer it correctly, you won't pass your exam, so don't start. Here's the question. The question is very simple. Why do you want to study CMA? And it's applicable for any other certification you're considering too. Why do you want to study CMA? Now, I said you have to get this answer correct. You have to be able to answer this question correctly. Well, if we were in a room, and I won't do it because it's a little more difficult and time consuming over Zoom, but if we were in a room and I asked you this question, after a little while, somebody would raise their hand and say, well, I want knowledge. And somebody would say, I want the letters after my name. I want to be able to say I'm a CMA. And somebody would say, I want the skills. I want to develop my career. And then finally, after a little while, I'd kind of sit there and help people think. Somebody would finally say their hand and say, I want a raise. I want a promotion. And that's also a correct answer. I said you need to be able to answer this question correctly. The good news is any answer is the correct answer. If you want to study CMA because you want the letters after your name, fine, that's a correct answer. If you want to study CMA because you really want to learn the content that's in the CMA exam, that's great. That's a good, correct answer. You'll pass your exam. If you want to study CMA because you want a different job, a better job, a promotion, a bonus, more money, that's a correct answer as well. Any answer is a correct answer, but you need to have the answer to that question because studying to pass the CMA exam is not easy. It doesn't happen accidentally. If you pass your exam, it's because you did the things that you need to do to pass it. And by being here at this meeting today, you're making those decisions. You're starting that process of making those right decisions of what it is that you're supposed to do in order to be ready to pass the exam. And so this is having a process, and that's smart study. That's smart study. Having the classes to attend, having somebody to answer your questions, having somebody to explain the content to you, a structure from section A to section B to section C to section D to E to F. You need to have that structure. You need to have that program. You have that. Smart study will do that for you. You need to have good materials. You're getting my materials. I know they're good materials. Okay. You, by studying with Smart Study, you're also studying with Hawk. When we put you into our system for access to our materials, we consider you one of our students. You are. You're a student of Smart Study, but you're also a student of Hawk, which means if you have a question, you can ask us. You can ask Smart Study, you can ask us. You have access to our forum with the thousands of questions that people have asked in the past and our answers to those questions. You have all of the tools that you need. Between Smart Study, their process, their system, the way they've done this in the past, their teachers, their experts, their knowledgeable experts, our materials. All that's left is for you to make the decision to take advantage of these resources that you have. Go to every class. Okay, I don't understand why people sign up for a class and then don't attend it. Go to every class. That's the first step. Go to every class, do the homework, read the book, do the questions, ask questions when you don't understand something. This, one of the most important things you can do in your studying is to ask questions when you don't understand something. You have all the tools you need. You just need to make the decision to use them. And that comes back to the question of, why do you want to study CMA? Because you need to study 10 hours a week. There's going to be a night where your friends want to go out and do something, but you need to stay home to study. There's going to be a party. There's going to be a celebration. There's going to be a football game you want to go to. There's going to be whatever, cricket, I don't know. Whatever you like, there's going to be something you want to do. But for 6 months, a year, you're not always going to be able to do that. If you know why you are studying for CMA, you will be able to tell your friends, no, I can't go this week. That's my study night. I'm going to study instead. If you know why you're studying for CMA, you will attend class. You will do the homework. You will put in the time that you need. If you do that, absolutely, you will be ready to pass your exam. You have all the tools. You have an excellent classroom provider, excellent teachers, that structure and support you need. You have excellent materials. It's all up to you to take advantage of that, to make the commitment to the time that's required for you to get that knowledge to pass the exam when you take it the first time. So I'll summarize this and I'll be here at the end if there's any questions that you want to ask me. CMA is a wonderful certification. It's not the only wonderful one, but it is a wonderful certification. As soon as you make a decision about what certification will serve you best, make certain you understand why you're studying. Know why you're studying CMA, because that's going to make it easier for you to make that commitment to spend the time that's necessary to pass your exam on your first attempt. You have all the tools you need available to you. Between Smart Study and Hawk, you have everything you need. It's up to you to make that decision, to take advantage of that, to pass your exam and advance your career. Thank you very much. And as I said, I'll be here for questions at the end if anybody has any questions that you'd like to direct to me. Again, thank you for your time. I trust that this has been a wonderful, very educational and thoughtful presentation for you. I wish you great success in your exams and great success in your career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, for such a beautiful explanation and your time, obviously. And really, let me tell my audience that just like Brian told, there is a little difference between a degree program and a certification program. Like when you are going after a degree program, so obviously you are getting yourself equipped with knowledge, extensive knowledge indeed. But whenever you are going for a certification like CMA, CPA, ACC, or some other certification, so the important thing is that you are equipping yourself with certain skills that are needed to perform a specialized job and a specific task. So like Brian just said, that it was into consideration some time back that you can call CMA instead of certified management accountant, it can be certified management advisor. So no doubt, it is indeed very truthful. And rest, you have heard what Mr. Hawk said, what Rishi said. So you now have a good picture of what CMA is and what are the future prospects of your future, your career when you go after the CMA certification. And obviously, whenever you are looking after anything, especially any professional qualification, so hard work, and I would rather say smart work, okay, with your the more you want to do it, the more you have the crave for it, the more you have the praise for that. So it will be easy for you to accomplish that certification. And whenever a certification is challenging to pass, so again, just like Mr. Brian said, that this means that those people who pass that certification are competent enough. Okay, so I don't think that there is anything more for me to say, but there are a few questions that were asked by some students that I would like to address to my guests, especially. First of all, I would be coming to Mr. Rishi. And after all, let me tell you, dear friends, dear attendees, that whoever wants to ask a question directly from our guests, so you guys may raise your hands. So you can just simply click on the reactions icon on the bottom tab, on the tab that is appearing on the bottom of your screen, and there you will be finding the option of raising your hand. So we will be notified and we will be helping you to ask your question directly to our guest. But before that, let me ask a few questions. So Mr. Rishi, some of the students and some of the queries that came to us, they wanted to know that what are the additional benefits other than qualifying CMA, what are the additional benefits that IMA provides to its members? For example, the career driver and some other benefits that are available on the website. So could you please put some light and enlighten us with this information?
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. So whoever asked the question, yeah, it's a great question. We are not just there for the CMA. You know, what we are member driven. There is a membership to go with you starting the CMA program. So if you look at number one, I think Mohammed mentioned Career Driver. So Career Driver is an online assessment tool by the association. It tells you where you are at the moment and where you want to be. So there are a number of kind of competency-based questions where you will answer. So say if you want to go to a finance manager, from those particular questions, it will tell you, once you've answered those questions, what you need to focus on. So it's like your own personal career coach. It's your own personal career coach. That is a member-driven benefit, Career Driver. One of the other things that we offer is we have many short courses from Excel to cybersecurity to data analytics to communication in the 21st century to team working to CV structure. So we have a lot of knowledge that you can obviously extract being a member. And I'm just giving you some high level information here. You can be part of our community where you're invited to our global webinars. Sometimes as well, the webinars from the live sessions from our local chapter in Pakistan as well, which we are proud of. So there's a lot of extraction and information that you can get. You know, when you talk about a gym membership, it's only actually beneficial if you go to the gym, correct? So just like our association, the knowledge is there, you can extract it. Thanks, Mohammed.
If I can join, and this question about what are the benefits of membership, we actually have a number of webinars that we have scheduled, and one of them that's upcoming is maximizing the benefits from your membership, because I think one of the things that people kind of neglect in going forward is that there's a lot more than just the exam. It's your networking, it's all the learning opportunities, it's the leadership opportunities. Is it okay if I share the link to our website where people can register for this?
Yes, yes, sure, you have the
Yep.
floor,
And
please.
so it's also, I'm putting it in the chat. If you go to our website, hawkinternational.com, there's up at the top, it says events. It's interesting that a couple of the other ones that are upcoming are also relevant. One that is next week has to do with making study schedules and study plans. And for those of you who are just starting the process of studying, that would be a very good one to join at this time, to have that at the very beginning. There's also one upcoming about how to choose the right certification, which I know that Rishi and I have both kind of talked about in terms of there's a lot of different certifications. And I think Rishi and I agree that, and you can shake your head if you disagree, we're not interested in having people study CMA that CMA is not a good fit for. If you know that you want your career to be an internal audit, Rishi's not going to tell you to study CMA. I'm not going to tell you to study CMA. And so it's a matter of making certain that you find the certification that's the right fit for you and what it is that you want to do with your career. And then the last one that's upcoming is how to maximize the benefits of your membership. And that's something that Rishi talked about very briefly here. There are a lot of things that IMA offers in addition to being CMA and maintaining that certification. And so it's just a matter of you taking advantage of those opportunities to really get the most value you can out of your membership. So the link is in the chat there if anybody's interested in signing up for those. They're free. It's just kind of information to help you make the most out of your career.
Thank you. There is another question from one of our attendees, Mr. Adil Ahmed, and he's asking that what aspects are covered in cost management? Does it cover process costing, internal control aspects, documented procedures required to implement for internal controls, or are these things addressed in cost management chapter practically into consideration? So I would like if Mr. Brian would answer this question.
I think the answer to that is yes. I know process costing is covered. Was the question about specific internal controls for a very specific thing? I didn't understand that, but internal controls are covered. Process costing is covered. That whole cost management, costing, how much does it cost to produce our product, cost allocation, and all of those things are there. One of the things that CMA isn't, and this is a good thing, it doesn't get into industry specific. And so if the question was about internal controls related to foreign currency, I missed that. There may not be on your exam any questions about that specific internal control, but internal controls are part of the exam. And obviously there's a number of places where costing, cost allocation, decision-making with costs are covered. And so it's hard to say that it's in one specific part of the exam.
Thank you. I would like Mr. Adil Ahmed to ask his question directly because I think that he is asking something specific. So I've just requested him to unmute himself so that he asks you directly. It would be better for both of us and all the attendees.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I have put a question that the major thing is that I wanted to know that does cost management chapter covers all those internal control aspects, and does after covering that cost management is a candidate able to implement those internal controls? I mean, practically, does the CMA cost management tools, is he able to practically implement all those tools or not? Does CMA teaches that tools or just academic?
I think the answer is it doesn't teach specifics like these are the control systems for purchases and payables and receivables. It teaches what we're doing with internal controls, the objectives of internal controls, how we go about achieving that. But I wouldn't say that after you study CMA, you would be able to go in and set up the internal controls for a company. I don't think I would say that the understanding of internal controls is that deep and that specific that you'd be able to do that. You would be able to participate in that. You'd be able to contribute to that. You'd understand what it is that is done. But I don't think that I would say after CMA, you would have that level of expertise in internal controls that your company would just say, okay, Brian, you're now setting up our internal control system for any part of the company by yourself. I don't think there's that depth of knowledge in the CMA exam in respect to internal controls.
Thank you, Brian. We have two other questions from one of our attendees. Mr. Mohibullah Faizi wants to know if there are any exemptions for ACCA members, or ACCA members can start the journey. What is the process flow? How the ACCA members can start the journey of CMA? Mr. Rishi, can you assist with that, please?
Sure. Yeah. Again, it's a good question. The one thing that we don't do is particular to give any waivers. It's a two-part paper, so there's no waivers granted if you're ACCA and you're going for the CMA. Obviously, to go for the CMA, you do have to have an undergrad from any specialization. It has to be an undergrad. It can be, like I said, from any specialization. We don't say that you have to be studying accounting, finance, or anything finance related in your undergrad. It can be from any specialization to become certified. So for the steps to start your CMA journey, you would visit the global website, and then you would basically start by taking the membership entrance fee, and you've got the great material and the great ecosystem with Smart Study. You've got the great study material from Hock. So that would be the information and steps that you would need to, your initial steps that you would need to take.
Rishi, there is also another question. One of the attendees is asking if you could tell the audience that what are the prerequisites of becoming a CMA?
Okay, so the prerequisites. So let's go to when you have passed both parts. So you've passed both parts of the CMA. In order to become CMA certified, which are the three letters that you can use at the side of your name, you need to share with us a copy of your undergraduate degree. Your undergraduate degree, like I said, can be from any specialization. So that is one of the criteria. Also, once you have passed your second paper, you have 7 years to provide us with your undergraduate degree and 2 years of relevant work experience. So you've passed both parts in 2022. You have up until 2029 to provide us with your undergraduate degree and your work experience of a minimum of 2 years. So 7 years is a big cycle. So even if you did your CMA within the first or the second year of when you're in university, you have enough time to become CMA certified. The great thing about, and you're probably thinking about this, well, how do I leverage of me passing the CMA papers? And that is actually a good point, because what we can do as the association, we can provide you with an academic transcript. You can showcase that on your CV as well. And when you sit down with the recruiter, whether it's virtually or you're having a face-to-face discussion, you can tell them, I've passed both parts of the paper. The only thing that I am waiting for is getting the 2 years work experience, which I'm here today, and your undergraduate degree. So I hope that answers a little bit more.
Thank you, Rishi. Okay, we have a question for Mr. Hawk. Mr. Hawk, can you please tell the audience what are the benefits of studying from an authorized publisher or an authorized academic provider, and what are the advantages of self-studying, especially for a professional qualification, the like of CMA?
Well, in terms of studying from an authorized provider, the key benefit is that you know that the materials you're using are up to date. We know from experience, and the IMA has done a very good job helping to address this. When providers aren't authorized, they often have pirated materials, which The risk to that is the materials aren't complete, the materials aren't up to date, the materials aren't, sometimes we find they're not even for the current syllabus. And so the cost of taking the exams is not cheap. We need to be honest about that. This is not a cheap endeavor. This is a significant investment. It's a tremendous investment. It's the best investment you can make in your career, but it's not cheap. And so you need to make certain that you're doing everything you can to give yourself the best chance to pass the exam. And that is using proper materials, materials that you know are complete, materials that you know are current, getting the support that you need, people answering your questions. Can you study for CMA by yourself without a classroom? You can. I know a lot of people do around the world. The issue is that what a classroom environment does is it provides structure. It provides, you have class this day and this day and this day and this day, and you know that. If you study by yourself, you need to provide that discipline yourself. You need to be able to study on Thursday night and Tuesday morning and Saturday morning, whatever days it is you choose to study. And also, what the classroom environment does is it provides a very good group environment and peer pressure, because you know that your classmates are studying, you see that your classmates are studying, and you don't want to be the one who doesn't pass. You want to make certain that you're doing everything that everybody else is. And so that group environment, that relationship you establish with your instructors in that classroom environment are all very valuable. Yeah, there's a cost to it, but everything has a cost to it that has value to it. As much money as you're spending to register for the exams, you shouldn't try to save $50 by having a cheaper class or pirated materials. It's all what it does that support that structure that helps you be ready to pass your exam on your first attempt.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. And yes, just taking the opportunity of extending what you have just said, obviously everything has a cost. And when we talk about the CMA, whether it is the tuition fee, whether it is you can say the exam fee, or it is the fee for the study resources, so it is an investment you are making on yourself. Today, if you make this investment and you see its benefits in the going future, in the foreseeable future, so obviously if you calculate the present value, one of the concepts will be tested on the CMA exam as well, so you will find it to have a high net present value. Okay, if I explain to you in terms of financial management, so really here at Smart Study, we not only want you we are not basically only over here to just provide tuition. We are here to help you and support you so that you can pass successfully in partnership with Hawk International. And also we want this journey to be an affordable journey for you. Okay, so this is why we have different sorts of discounts available as well in terms of tuition fee, because for IMA fee, obviously that is something that IMA has to be paid, and the material fee is also fixed. We have nothing to do with that, but it is a huge discount has been provided to us thanks to Mr. Hawk and his partnership with Smart Study. And as far as the tuition fee is concerned, so we also have discounts and various arrangements how students can make the fee payment to us. And obviously one of the greatest advantages to study with Smart Study is that we have students from different parts of the world. Like we have in ACCA, we have the same plans for CMA. This not only provides you a very good classroom environment, but also an extraordinary networking opportunity. Imagine you study with us, you qualify the exams together, talking about all the peers, talking about all the colleagues, all the class fellows, and then you have natural inbuilt networking in different parts of the world, where you can go somewhere else in another country, for example, and you have someone where you can ask for, let's suppose, nothing else but a chit chat. They can help you get a good job as well, because obviously networking is a very important thing. I think that there is nothing much to tell about networking. Everybody of us knows that how networking is beneficial in many different ways. So this is one of the greatest opportunities of studying with Smart Study. And rest, as Mr. Hawk already told us, that there are a lot of benefits of studying in a classroom environment. There is peer pressure, there is something, motivation from the teacher as well. And again, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, whenever you are taking the class, whenever you are revising your concepts, so you have the teacher, you have the access to your teacher. You can text us in the middle of the night. Obviously, we won't be replying you at that time, but at our earliest, we will be responding back to you. Okay? So we have students from across the world. Even when we teach ACCA, so people, our students, we call them our students. They are just like our peers. Whenever they talk to us, even after the course has finished, we are already there to respond to them. Okay? So over here, I would request the attendees, if there are any other questions, so we will be happy to entertain them. Otherwise, we are running short of time. Yes, Mr. Hassan, the webinar recording will be available soon. So if there are any other questions, you may raise your hands and we can help you unmute yourself, or you can write your messages in the form of chat, and we will be able to ask the questions. One last question from Mr. Rishi. Mr. Rishi, can you explain the attendees that what is the IMA student scholarship, who is eligible for that, and whom does IMA calls a student?
Yeah, so basically when it comes to the student scholarship, we provide a comprehensive scholarship. This is basically providing you with your membership, provides you with some training material, it provides you with the entrance fee and both parts of the exam. Now, what we class as a student is anybody that is sitting for and currently sitting for their BCom or their MCom. If you're an ACCA student or a CA student, that does not class as a student for the CMA scholarship. Yes, in your eyes, you are a student, but for the CMA scholarship, you wouldn't be eligible. So I hope that explains the scholarship.
Well, thank you so much. So this is the time for us to say goodbye to all our guests, and with special thanks to Mr. Rishi Malhotra from the IMA Dubai office and Mr. Brian Hawk for their presence and their precious time. And no doubt they are gem of a person, and surely having connected with IMA, you will have ample opportunities to speak to Mr. Rishi, hear him, and also with our partnership with Hawk. So as Mr. Hawk said that you all will be his students as well. So surely we all look towards a good future. And yes, good luck for your future, good luck for your exams, good luck for your preparation. I again, with the depth of my heart, thank Mr. Rishi, Mr. Brian, and also Mr. Naveed for their presence, their precious time. And in the end, I would just like to sum up that whenever we have to do something, we have to do it with dedication. The more dedication you show, the more rigorously you study and work hard, and ultimately the thing for you, for which you work hard, it is always granted. So have a nice time and see you in some other webinar or in a classroom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.